Hello, and welcome to the NASA Broom Cupboard. Now, today I don't normally like to go after people's religion, but sometimes you come across someone so egregious you just feel like you have to. So in today's video, we're looking at a guy called Matt Powell, and this is his message to America.
Many different things that are harming our country. I want to take a Christian perspective of how to fix them.
He certainly has ideas on how to fix things, how Christian they are. I will leave that for you to judge.
But in schools, they're telling our kids about humanism and how wonderful humanism is. They're teaching our kids that we came from a cosmic explosion. But here's the thing, what if I said a giant boulder just popped into this room from nowhere? Folks,
Well, I would say you're trying to create a straw man of the Big Bang Theory, and I would thank you not to do that. Now, the Big Bang Theory is obviously very complex to understand, but to use your reductionist argument of something came from nothing is just dishonest.
they're teaching our kids in public schools literal magic that poof, out of nowhere, abracadabra, nothing created everything.
That is not what they're teaching. That's a straw man.
It's transgenderism. In the schools today, they are teaching our kids that there are more than two genders.
Oh, goody. Well, I'm sure Matthew's going to have a very nuanced take on this.
The reason there's not more than two genders is because science has shown us that there's only male and female bones, okay? There's only male and female chromosomes. This is what science has shown us. We're talking about biology, we're talking about genetics.
So Matthew is already on the wrong track because he is confusing sex and gender. Sex is very much biological. That's the male and female, but gender is far more of a social construct. And that is the point that he is missing.
They want to go into women's locker rooms, women's bathrooms. You talk about bigotry, that's bigotry. They say, you're bigoted. No, I'm not bigoted.
So there are discussions that do need to be had around trans issues, such as participation in sports and access to female spaces. But our starting position for these should not be, if you are trans, you must be a sex offender. So yes, Matthew, you are a bigot.
In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. Look, we need to be on the alert, folks. They are going after your kids with this.
Nobody is going after anyone. That's just transphobic scaremongering.
Well, let's talk for a moment about rock and roll.
I'm sorry, are you from the past?
They put
Yes, Matthew is really going there. He is going to tell us about the rock and the roll music that the kids are listening to these days.
plants in a box and they pumped rock and roll music into the box. You know what happened to the plants? They died.
So there is some truth to this, that when plants are played heavy metal music, they do tend to not grow so well. But it's more down to vibrations from the beat than anything else. So if you were to play the plants anything with a high tempo beat over classical, you would expect similar results.
Mice that were exposed to heavy metal now. What did they do? Instead of completing the maze, they killed each other. They ate each other. And if you notice, some of the biggest shootings in the world have been at rock and roll concerts.
Screw you, Matthew. Really, screw you. How dare you exploit people's deaths in this way? Right? And also, don't just ignore the fact that the people who die at these concerts are usually killed by a right-wing religious nutjob.
Let's talk about men going their own way. Who's ever heard of this organization?
I hadn't until now, but now I've looked into it, it seems like they are a right-wing incel group promoting very unhealthy attitudes towards women.
And always hear this phrase. Who's ever heard the phrase, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? They are equating women to cows.
Yeah, we are actually in agreement, Matthew. That is absolutely awful. How are we going to mess this up now?
And feminism. Let's talk about feminism.
And I think I have my answer.
You should, as a young woman, you should be praying that God would bring that man into your life, that would protect you, provide for you.
Yes, women, don't try and do anything for yourself. Just wait, and eventually a man will come along and do it for you.
A lot of these ladies, they don't have enough to survive. They end up going bankrupt, and some of them literally turn to harlotry. It's literally so sad. I've seen it over and over and over again. And why? Because they didn't follow what Jesus said.
Well, actually, there can be lots of reasons as to why women find themselves in poverty. And as well as this, Matthew, your misogyny is showing in that you have immediately apportioned all blame to the woman because she didn't follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. And it has not occurred to you that maybe her circumstances are not through any actions of her own.
Let's talk about abortion.
Nope, not touching that one.
Black Lives Matter.
Okay, let's see how this one goes.
Bible says there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him.
Okay, so he's going down the all lives matter route. Okay, so this is fundamental misunderstanding of what Black Lives Matter means. Okay, so I'll explain it again for the kids at the back. Right, so Black Lives Matter does not mean that white people's lives don't matter. Okay, so what you've got is a group of people who feel like they are not being listened to. So it's not that Black Lives Matter more, it's that Black Lives Matter as well. Okay?
This is on their website. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. What's the goal of Black Lives Matter? To disrupt normal family activity.
That is not what it says. Read it again and understand the words, Matthew. They are not replacing the nuclear family. What they are proposing is to build a whole community. That's a very different thing. Now, did you read these words and just misunderstand? Or are you intentionally lying? Because if so, I believe Jesus has something to say on that matter. Anyway, that's all done and dusted. Matthew, any final words? Sorry, there's no time. So, if you enjoyed this, please feel free to like and subscribe. Help an angel get its wings by hitting the notification bell. And if there's someone you don't like, maybe you could share this video with them. Until next time, Star White, and I'm out.